welcome to another episode of Talk with Confidence. This is where we have inspirational conversations with inspirational people. Today I have a guest here. His name is Joseph Modau. He's an author, he's a brand strategist, and he's also a speaker. Tate Joe, welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. Confidence. At long last we meet.
At long last we meet. We've been talking on social media.
Correct. Yeah.
I've seen some of the events that you've been doing, and I see you also have launched your book.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really excited, and thank you for honoring the invite to come on the show. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I think just a bit about our event this past
Yes.
It is called the Rebrand Summit. I do this one only once in a year.
Yes.
So it's a milestone for us. It's a wonderful event.
Yeah.
We bring in all the professionals and as well as business people to come there and learn. So I also bring in some other inspirational speakers who can also assist in different topics.
What was so it was called the Rebrand Summit?
It's called Rebrand Summit.
So what was the inspiration behind that?
This one we're focusing almost on two things, if not three.
Yeah.
We're focusing on the first part. It was around personal branding, because anyway, personal branding focuses on you as an individual.
Yes.
Because before we can buy a product from you, we need to understand the man behind the product. So that was the focus, number one. And number two, we also looked at I think in terms of the branding, the spirit of a branding, because it's important for us to understand issues around excellence. How can we position ourselves in the world of today? So we looked at that as well, because in essence, our event, it is to build a very strong personal brand. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. When most of us think of brands, we think of Coca-Cola, we think of Apple, we think of Toyota and the likes. Yeah. We don't think of ourselves as brands.
Correct.
Why do you say that a person is a brand?
In actual fact, I think I've been talking about this subject for quite some time now, and I've done a lot of research around it. It is proven. In the past, I think there's a man called Tom Peters who introduced this subject of personal branding. I think it was around early 90s. And most of the researchers at that time, they were not sure if we can regard individual as brands. And since then, there have been many researches that were made to confirm this subject, that whether people can be regarded as brands or we still focus on object or products as brands. Today, we can all confirm as researchers that people are brands. And that is why you will realize that people do business with people they know. If I'm not comfortable with you in the space, I cannot do business with you. And when I'm saying that they do business with people they know, I'm not saying we need to have met in person, but you need to have created a rapport out there so that people can say, this is the guy, man, that I want to work with.
I like what you're saying, because if it's the same principle with brands. If I've tasted Coca-Cola,
yes,
and now I've built rapport with the brand.
Correct.
Because it satisfied a particular need, I will go back again tomorrow.
Correct.
And consume the same Coca-Cola. Is it the same with people? I mean, when you talk of building rapport, the example I've made with Coca-Cola, it's a physical, tangible thing. So
Correct.
how do you create the rapport when the brand is another person and not a tangible brand?
In actual fact, I think on a daily basis, we're creating a rapport with our audience. And that is why you will realize that I think most of us, we are on social media. Social media, I think we are able to reflect who we are. The stuff that we post out there, they are sort of an index of about our lives. And if I want to know more about you, the simplest place I can go to, it is Google. So when I type in there and I check your name, the content that will come out of that, it will be your latest content.
Yeah.
And most of us, our latest content is social media. And if, for example, you have got a personal website, which we always encourage for people to have their own website.
Yes.
Because now you are telling your own story. You are not allowing people to talk much about you
yes,
without you telling your own story.
Yes.
Even employers today, as we speak, if they are looking for an individual to come and work in their companies, they go and search on you, and LinkedIn becomes a place where we create rapport with professionals. So the things that we're doing on a daily basis, they create a rapport. We know who we are. You know, we know what you're doing because of the stuff that you're doing out there.
I like that. In terms of branding, what is the most important thing about a brand?
The most important thing about a brand is the personality of a brand. And personality of brand is built within the essence of purpose.
Okay.
All of us, even those that are producing products, there is a reason why they are producing
Yes,
that.
yes.
Coca-Cola, there's a reason why you have it there. And their strategy in the early days, they were very clear that they want Coca-Cola to be all over the world. Even the poorest person in the world should have an experience with Coca-Cola. So are we with people. And whatever we're doing, we need to have a purpose why we're doing what we're doing. Because if our purpose is not right, if our reasons of doing what we're doing is not correct, the chances are we are not going to create memories with people. Because personal brand resonates in the minds of people. This is the perception that remains with us. And if you don't build the correct one, chances are we may not continue to do business with you. We may not continue to hire you. Because even if I meet people, you give me your business card today, the first thing that I do, I Google your stuff. I want to know who am I dealing with.
Yeah.
And this is the world of today. Information is at the fingertip. I don't have to go and go to the libraries and search for your information. With my phone, I've got your information.
So are you saying it's in today's world, in the contemporary world, you have to have the digital presence?
Yes, correct.
And would you say that branding, for me, obviously when I look at you, right, the first thing I see is Mr. Modau is a tall black man, well built.
Yeah.
He's wearing a suit, he's wearing glasses, and it creates an impression. Do you believe that packaging is 50% of the brand? Because I may think this is 50% of you, but then what do I find when I start talking with you? Is it more important to have the packaging right or the product right?
I think I love the question that you asked, because most of the people, when we talk about personal branding, they think that I'm an image consultant.
Yes.
And
yes.
no, I'm not. I'm not an image consultant, right?
You're not in the fashion industry.
No, I'm not in that. In actual fact, if I need fashion tips, I go to other people. They assist me in that regard.
Yes.
What is so important about personal branding? It's about you telling your own story. I think I want to just simplify that without complicating it. And how do you tell your story? You go tell your story by looking at the content that you have. You go and look at your experiences. You go and look at your skills. You go and look at your qualifications. And remember, I did not say qualification only. You start with your experience. All of us who have got experiences that we can share with other people. Whatever you've gone through, it could be an abuse of what, but that's a story. That's your experience that you can share with someone else out there. But you do have skills. You've got things that you do with ease. Some of you are very good with talking. Some of you are very good with your hands. So immediately that form part of your personal brand. Your qualification then is an added advantage in terms of what you're doing. So now you decide, I have got this is the package, this is me. I am good at what I do. I am different with my speciality. So how do I go out there? How do people that do not know me get access of me? You can decide that I'm going to talk about these things on social media. You can decide to have a personal website. You can decide to have, just go and look at other social media tools that we can also use. You use those platforms. Yes, of course, when you interact with people physically, you need to be presentable.
Yes.
You cannot just go there and unpresentable. And that is why, even I think on my simplified guide for personal branding, I do have a chapter that talks about how we can, I think, blend the colors of our clothing. Because people are thinking that when you talk about personal branding, I must go and change my wardrobe and all that. We're not talking about that. It's just a combination. Clean your clothes, be presentable. When you meet with other people, then they will say, no, at least this is a good guy.
Yeah. In terms of branding as well, I love this subject, by the way. I'm passionate about it.
Wow, that's good.
In branding, we have the value of a brand.
Yes.
Like, for example, they'll say Apple is worth X billion.
Correct.
Now, when you go on a person to person, on a personalized level, how do you measure the value of a brand when the brand is a person and not an object?
All right, I think let's start again with my simplified definition of what a personal brand is. I will say that it's a combination of what I said, your experience, your skills, your qualification, including your persona, to create a value proposition. There must be a value proposition.
Yes.
In other words, even I think in your studio, you're not just inviting people that are not coming with a value proposition.
Yes,
so there should be that value proposition. Before we can even measure whether this value, in terms of its return, the return on investment, what is it that it's bringing back? But we need to come with people need to build that value proposition to say, this is who I am and this is what I'm bringing into the market.
Wonderful.
That is what the market is looking for.
Yes.
And if you go and you are looking for a job, and that's why we ask you a simple question: why do you think you're the right person for the job? We are saying create a value proposition.
Yes.
Bring us something that is different from your competitors, because the world that we're living in, it's so very competitive. It's more about competition and making yourself unique from your competitors.
I love it. I love that. I love that. I was looking at some of your title chapters, and I love them. Can you go into a little bit of
Yeah, we can go
some of them?
into that one.
Can you go to invest on relationship capital? That really captured me.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Most of the time, including the event we had over the weekend, you will realize that most of the people, when they go into a social event, whether it's a funeral, whether it's a summit, or whether it's just a conference, or whether it's a church, most of the time we focus on people that we know. We don't go out there and create a network with other people. So I think on that chapter, I was saying that when you go into events, you must always look at people that talk to your vision, people that talk to the direction that you're heading. Because chances are, when you find around 10 people, there is this particular guy that talks to your vision. There is a particular guy that you must somehow interact, exchange your business cards, exchange your books, exchange what you're doing, so that in whatever they are doing, they are able to say, there is this guy that I think we can work together at some point and collaborate. Because our world of today, it's more about networking. If you don't network, chances are you may not succeed. So it is important for us to invest on relationship capital, because nowadays, did you know that even job opportunities, they come because of referral? People will refer and say,
Yes.
there is this guy called Confident, but talk to this guy. I think he's going to do it for you. And it comes through referral. If you don't interact with other people, they don't know what you're doing. So chances are, I may not refer you, whether it's a business or whether it's just a job opportunity. It may be difficult to recommend you.
I guess that also speaks to authenticity, because it's more believable if other people are saying, you know what, I know a guy called Joe.
Yes.
He's very good in XYZ. Then it's easy for me, whether I'm in business and I want to get your services, or I just want to build a relationship with you. When others have said, you know what, Joe is XYZ, is excellent. He always produces. Then it's more authentic than me going to your website. Would you say that that's correct? Is it more important what people are saying about you as a brand, as opposed to what you are saying about you? Which is more important?
Both of them are important. You must tell your own story. I think for me, I always say that around personal branding, we've got two types of brands, and I'm going to answer your question.
Yes.
The first brand is what we call a default brand.
Default
brand. I will tell you why.
Please.
Number two, it's also brand by design. A default brand, it's the way we were born. No, he's just a good guy from the township, right?
Yeah.
We grew up with this guy.
Yeah.
He's just a good guy.
Yeah.
But we cannot pinpoint that his value proposition is 1, 2, 3. And the story which resonates in their minds is those early stage stories. They've got nothing to talk about of your recent stories. But there is what I call brand by design. So here you make a decision that I am going to brand myself as this. Earlier on, you asked me, when you introduce me, how do I want to be introduced?
Yes.
So I'm branding myself as a speaker. I'm branding myself as a branding specialist. I'm branding myself as an author. This is who I am. But on the other side, you may brand yourself as something else. You may brand yourself because now you are telling your own story.
Yes.
When you Google me, the stuff that I am doing should be in line with those 3 words that I'm branding myself along.
Okay.
So then it becomes important rather than people what they're saying about you. So whatever the conversation that we need to cause in our society, it's about the content that I'm bringing. Today, if you go and Google me on social media, people, it's either they're talking about our rebrand summit, because this is how I want to be remembered. This is how I'm building myself. But what is important, the story that we write on social media, Confident, is that we need to be authentic. A lot of people there, they are writing stories which are so parallel to their lives. If we come and search and we are doing the reference, we want to just to verify if this guy is true. We should that information should marry with whatever you are writing. And that is why we have seen a lot of people getting so embarrassed on social media and in life, in politics and business, because they have presented themselves as something they are not. You cannot, if we talk about qualification, you cannot go and say I'm a doctor. Even if people start calling me Dr. Joe
Yeah.
because of the stuff that I'm talking about. I must not be excited that I'm a doctor and forget to go and study. So you must be authentic. Whatever you say that you're able to do,
love that,
it
yeah.
must be something that you're doing.
love
Don't
it.
go and claim something that you cannot do, because immediately, most of the time, the reflection that we get from people is their experience about you. So it's important for you to get that reflection. What are people saying about you? It's important for you to know so that you are able to improve. Continuous improvement looks at you reflecting on yourself. And how do you reflect? Use your network around you. Let people reflect at some point to help you grow, to help you improve,
To sharpen
you.
Yes.
Because most of the time, we don't like this criticism. We're always looking for people that will say, no, you're doing well, man. You're doing great.
The
and all
cheerleaders.
the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
So what I do, even I think in the writing of my books, before I can publish my books, my style is that I give this book to readers. People that I know, they read and they critique my books before I can publish the book. That is why, my book, I have done, I think, almost everything to make sure that my book talks to what I had envisioned, because I've used people to criticize my work. What people are saying about you, it's important, but use it to correct in those areas. Don't use it to discourage yourself, but use it to encourage yourself in terms of what you're doing.
And I think also motive is important, because, for instance, if my mentor tells me something and it's correction, then it's easier for me to listen, because I know the motive. I know their motive is to uplift me. But there are some people out there, even if you're doing a good thing,
Correct.
they'll still say, no, what you did was not good, was not up to par. So I think it's also important to gauge who is talking, who's making those comments.
There's a need for that balance. Anything I think that we post on social media, we will always have a reflection. People will always say things about whatever we have said. So for me, I think the most important place that we should guard against, these one-on-ones where we can come, guide you, give you, I think, our criticism. That way you are safe. No issues about it.
Yes.
But nowadays, people are cancelling you on social media.
on public
platform. They can correct you on that space.
Yes.
So it's possible that when they are correcting you there, you can take these things to heart and forget to look at the core of the message. But also, do not use whatever they are saying about you as a way of discouraging yourself. What is important is that whatever criticism comes, it should fuel you into your destiny. It should fuel you to where you're going. I mean, we get a lot of feedback. Some of them is positive, some of them is negative. I remember I went to a guy at some point, and I said to this guy, I was so excited about what I wanted to do. And I went there, share my idea. This is what I want to do, man. And this guy, I looked at him as the guy, this is a mentor, this is a guy that I think he can assist me. But when I left there, I left so discouraged. It was like there was no point of going into that space. But I came back, reflect on the discussion. I looked at all those negative things that he has said, and I said, he may be right on this one, but I'm going on. Forward we go. We're not going backwards. So whatever you get from people, use it to fuel your vision. Use it to fuel the direction that you want to head to.
Wonderful. I love that. Brands evolve.
Yes.
So, from a logo point of view, even if you look at the first logo of a Ford, the first logo of a Coca-Cola, of an Apple, they've evolved to what they are right now. Is it the same with people? Do people evolve as brands, or what? Can you delve a bit deeper into that in terms of the evolution of a person as a brand?
We evolve. I think in simple answer. There was this question which was asked to Oprah Winfrey at some point, that if you lose everything that you have, what is it that you want to keep? What is it that you want, that you cannot afford to lose? And she said, I cannot afford to lose my name. So when you look, for example, at a brand called Oprah, you will realize that over the period of time, she evolved. All right? You will see that at this point, you will have O Magazine, you will have an Oprah show, you will have so many productions around her. So what is important is that as brand, we must be willing to evolve, because even the knowledge around us, it change. It's inevitable. Things are going to change around us. So what is important is that we need to up our game. Each time when things are happening, let's up our game. If you are afraid of technology, then you need to up your game, because the world is moving towards that. If you are afraid of being criticized in the space, I always say, people say, no, this social media thing is not for me, right? And they forget that, remember, social media creates a rapport. I get to know who you are. I get to know who I'm dealing with.
It's a tool.
It's a tool, you understand? If I go and search confident and I don't find you, for me, it's an issue.
You don't exist. Yeah, they say if you go online and we search for you in
Yes.
today's world,
Yes.
whether you're a business, whether you're a person, then you don't exist.
You don't exist.
You don't exist.
You
Because
don't
that-
exist
that's
at
the world
all.
we're living
At
in.
all. So because that's the world that we're living in. So for me, I will say it evolves. We must check at new knowledge. We must look at new experiences. We understand that you have got the past experience, but let's look at the new experience.
And the vision as
and,
well,
and the
when you go
vision
in, yeah.
going forward. Let's explore. Let's you know what? In actual fact, exposure as a person will do you good. You know, if I'm born. Ko Limpopo, you know, and I grew up there. Kinyala ko tengi, this school, I go in there. Then exposure becomes very minimal.
Yeah.
So it is important that if you want to evolve as a brand, I mean, the way I started, it's not the way I am today. I've been speaking all my life, but my speaking engagement has evolved
Yes.
because there is an area that I discovered as a niche to say this is the area that I want to focus
Yes.
on. In the past, if you came 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was not talking about personal branding. That was not my niche. But I evolved as a speaker. I was just talking as a generalist. And I realized that the world of today has no space for generalists. It's looking for people who have got a particular drive, people that are clear, people who have got a precise, I think, ideas. So that's what the world is looking for. So we evolve in life. If you are not going to evolve as a speaker, or whether you are a pastor or whether you're a businessman, you must evolve. Your speaking engagement should always evolve. You must always, I think, finding ways on how to improve.
How to get to the next level.
Yes.
And as you said, you started as a generalist
Yes.
in terms of your speaking, and then you found your niche in personal branding.
Correct.
How did you find that niche?
I think it is good that if you believe in something, continue to do it. Because if you believe you're a speaker, speak until you find clarity. Because many of us, we speak, you know, in the midst of confusion. Even, you know what, whether it's businessmen, for you to get clarity in your business, you must start to do something. You don't sit and say, I'm waiting for clarity. So for me, I think clarity came about when I'm seeking for new knowledge. When I was doing even, I think, my MBA, I picked up new knowledge. I realized the trends of where we are. And I also realized, oh, now we are in a knowledge economy. Things are changing now. You know what, all of us now, it means we are sort of the marketing managers of ourselves.
Yes.
We are supposed to sell ourselves. So I
Yes.
realized, this is where the world is going.
Yeah.
And remember, the issue of branding, personal branding, it didn't start now because Joseph is talking about. It's a very old discussion, but in our space here, it was something that was not well explored. And I said, this is the niche, this is the space that I want to occupy. So everyone, and I always say that all of us, we can be speakers, but we must be speaking at a particular, I think, topic. I always say that is why when you go to a mall, Nando's, KFC, and Chicken Licken, they can thrive in a mall. All of them selling one commodity. But why are they all thriving? They are thriving because they are different. So I'm a different speaker in my lane. I'm sticking in my lane, you stick in yours, they stick in theirs,
Yes.
and we make sure that we occupy our space. So for me, that's how I think I discovered my niche, by finding new knowledge.
Wonderful. You've touched on this a little bit, but I want to delve deeper into it. One of your chapter topics says, communicate your brand. Now, when you communication, there's different platforms. We are communicating verbally right now.
Correct, yeah.
My body language may be communicating.
Yes.
As you smile, you're communicating.
Correct.
We can communicate via an email.
Yeah.
In terms of your brand communication, what are some of your tips and advices in terms of how to communicate your brand?
Good question. You will realize that I think from where we are, there are I will call it a traditional. There is a traditional way of communication. In the past, people will have to advertise their businesses through your radio ad. You will go to TV ad, or you go to print media. So those are the traditional methods. The problem is that with those traditional methods, although they are necessary and important because you cover, I think, a vast footprint, they are expensive. But if you want to explore tools and opportunities where you can market yourself with less investments or zero investment, it's when you go to social media. We've got a lot of tools in those platforms. So and I think just to mention, if you want to just present yourself with the work that you're doing, Facebook and Instagram becomes key just for the work that we're doing. If, for example, you want to post videos, you want to post your pictures, those platforms becomes key. But if you want to start something around, whether is it a television work or a broadcasting work, you can go and use platform like your YouTube, because now you are communicating using that platform. You can even create, anyone can have a TV nowadays because of YouTube and other platforms. And if you are looking for a job and you don't have a LinkedIn profile, then you're not serious, because those are the platforms that are there for free, that you can communicate your brand. And so people, when we're talking about communication, they are thinking about this so old, I think, and conventional manner of communication. There are new ways of communicating now. And the way that we communicate today should be in the manner that you are Googleable. If you are not Googleable, it makes it very, very difficult.
Exactly. One of the chapters here is commit to excellence.
Yes.
What is excellence, and how does one commit to excellence?
In actual fact, excellence for me, it's my value. Whatever I do, I cannot afford to do anything that is substandard. I prefer to do things that are super, things that are extra. You know, if people are saying this is this is the level, I want to do more, I want to exceed. You know, so excellence says that don't just be ordinary. Don't just be don't practice mediocrity. And because in actual fact, the world does not reward mediocrity; it rewards excellence. If you are doing something beyond what people are thinking, that will assist you to become the best. You know, the word excellence, it goes along with words like superb.
Yes.
You know, spectacular. Whatever you do, it should be spectacular. It should be something above, above average. So a lot of us, we are with the general. You know, we are with the average. We want to be in that space. And the world of today is looking for specialists. If you want to struggle today, because remember, the knowledge economy brings a lot of challenges. Confident, you will realize that in the past it was possible for one person to have multiple job opportunities, but nowadays chances are, 10 people are going to fight for one job. You have been taught by the same teacher. You have gone through the same university, same professor, same experience, same room that we have shared. You know what? But when we go out there, we compete for this job. The question is, what makes you to be the relevant candidate as compared to the other one? So excellent become a differentiation factor. Because you know what? If you are going to remain average, you are going to remain the same. Then it means if you and I are the same, then it means one of us is not necessary. So we must find something that makes us to be unique, to be different, and excellent becomes the key.
I like that. You know, one of the things I like about brands is that if I buy Coca-Cola downstairs,
yes,
and I buy Coca-Cola in Limpopo,
yes,
it'll be the same.
It has to be the same.
So consistency is one of the pillars I believe in branding.
Correct.
How important do you believe it is in terms of a person-to-person, personal branding? Yeah. How important is consistency?
Consistency, I think, is very, very important. I'm glad that you mentioned that. The way people experience you at work, the way they experience you at the social gatherings in business, it should be the same. We should not find you to be a crook businessman, but when it comes to our space, you are this guy, smart, always in a suit and a tie. No, you must be consistent so that your messaging. Because remember, we talked about it earlier on, that you're going to get reflection from people. A brand, it's an experience that people have.
Yes.
So if people are going to experience you differently, you must know that you are miscommunicating your brand. So your message must be very consistent. The way people experience me in Gauteng, it should be the way they experience me in other provinces. Because this is how I'm communicating my brand.
Wonderful. I love that. And I want to step away from Joe, the businessman, the brand strategist, the entrepreneur, and speak about about Joe, the person, Joe, the father, the husband. In your bio, you mentioned that you're married, 2 kids.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about your family?
Hey, I always talk about things and it educates people, but having to talk about myself, I'm not a very good storyteller. But the good thing is that I got married in 2005. So this year it was my 12th year anniversary. We have got two kids, and a daughter and a son. And we've been together. So my wife, she's an IT professional, and she doesn't do what I do.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was an IT.
Started there.
I started there,
yes.
but I realized this thing is not not for me. I started in IT and I said, this thing is not for me.
Yeah.
When I meet a lot of my students that I used to teach at varsity, they will say, no, you are very good in IT. Are you still doing IT? And I'll tell them, since 2007, I've never been doing IT.
Wow.
So I've focused on a different direction. I've decided to be in the business of business.
Wow.
So that's what I'm doing. So, but I think in family, as you've indicated, I'm married, 2 kids, and that's who I am.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Joe, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this. I'm keeping this book.
Yes, yeah. I will have to sign it.
Yeah, no, we'll give you an opportunity. And I love the cover we're talking of.
Yes.
Such an elegant, simple cover, and it really speaks to what the book is about. And if people want to get hold of you, can you just maybe relay some of your information, your website, your
All right.
contact details?
So if people want to get hold of me, I'm always available on social media. You can search me as Joseph Modau. One word for a reason. You should have asked me that, but not now. So it's not like I'm trying to change myself and all that. So I'm Joseph Modau, one word. So you can find me on whether Twitter or Facebook or any other social platform. And you can also find me on my personal website, which is joemodau.co.za. You will find a lot of things that we are doing there. Or you can also go into my business website, redefinedbrands.com. You can also find me there. Or you, I think. My number's on that one? No. I think let's use the website and also the social media.
Okay.
So, and we carry it there. Yeah.
Joseph Modau, thank
Yes.
you so much, my brother. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank
and
you.
I believe we'll engage again in the future.
We should. I'm looking forward to this one. I love this. I love the idea. It's a great idea, and let's push and go forward.
Wonderful.
Great
Thank
work
you so
indeed.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was inspirational. I'm inspired. I'm sure you're inspired. And that was Talk with Confidence, conversations that inspire. Do join us again next time. Sharp, sharp.